Well, when you think of the White Cliffs of Dover, usually you'll think of a trip across the Atlantic. But these cliffs of Dover are just 24 degrees, and they might start white, but they'll end up covered in rubber after 140 laps of Florida State Builders Area Pro Series action. Tonight, it's round 4 of the season, and with one of the most challenging tracks on the calendar up this evening, it's a put-up-or-shut-up race at the Monster Mile. Hi, everybody. Kyle Heyer, joined by Connor Horn and Hunter Sleppy for what is sure to be a very intriguing race. Two very different races on Monday and Tuesday with the Cup and Truck Series. But, Connor, this place will eat you alive if you get it even just a little bit wrong.
He'll eat you alive as far as crashing. He'll eat you alive as far as the tires are concerned. We'll see both ends of that tonight, I would think. With Monday night, he had your share of yellows, but a lot of them were restart crashes. And we had a lot of green flag running on Tuesday as well. The tire wear was sky high in both races. In the Pro Series, the Xfinity Series cars, likely going to be no different. You're going to be chewing up tires. Got even more laps than we did Tuesday night at 140. I've only had 3 races here in the past, won by 3 different drivers. Anything could really happen, as we saw last season when we went to Dover. Didn't even get the full racing because of iRacing servers. James Skyerly winning that shortened race. Anything could happen tonight.
Yeah, anything really can happen. Monday night, we had what was presumed to be a steady caution-free race for the first half. Then the second half just became yellow after yellow after yellow. So it's going to be interesting seeing how these guys take the Monster Mile, some of which did race Monday night. Philip Groner and Jake Nichols, a couple of those drivers, they're the only ones, Kyle, that have won a race this season in the Pro Series. Is there anyone that could dethrone the 609 Motorsports duo?
Yeah, there's a couple of them, Hunter, but I think time is, I think you're going to tell us as far as who the championship competitors are really going to be. Drivers climbing up through the order after a troublesome first couple weeks. John Furness, who's won races in the past. Garrett Grant is up there in the mix as well. Blaze McKinney really impressed in the Cup Series on Monday, Connor, so perhaps he's a driver to keep an eye on tonight in his machine.
Yes, it's going to be another one of those races that really formalizes the points order, I would say, but it's still great. Garrett Grant, 5th in points, is tremendous for him. 51 off the series points lead. That'd be great for him to even get further up the order. Zach Nichols in 12th. Jeremy Miller's in 10th. I think he'll take that. Jeff Wright, a newcomer, he's in about the 8th position, although, yes, he is here tonight, so he could be climbing up the order. He was very fast last week, but couldn't get it done last week. As we look at the practice, what are likely the results, it's going to be hard to get a fast time down right now. Beckner, Groner, DeWeese, a great time for him, and that one lone Ford in the top 10. Anna Sogak, Greg Mitchell, Zachary Carr. Most of these drivers at the top 10 probably got out very early. The track goes away as far as speed goes after a few drivers get some times down on it, but either way, you likely see most of these names battling near the front and battling for the pole.
Yeah, just saying to Sogak, probably the biggest winner from last week. Finished 9th, moved up 20 spots in the point standings, so looking to carry that momentum all the way into the Monster Mile. But Miles is very hungry for some race cars, Kyle, that's for sure.
Yeah, and he's gotten a handful of them on Monday and Tuesday alike. But, Connor, these cars are pretty different than the ones on Monday and the trucks on Tuesday. So how do we anticipate this race feeling in comparison to those other 2 races? We're probably going to see tire wear, I would imagine, more similar to the Truck Series night, but maybe some spreading out as well. That could be a factor.
Yeah, we even saw Tuesday night things get spread out, but I think the pace of the truck race was incredibly accelerated because the cornering speeds were just so fast, and that's what was really chewing the right front tires off the trucks. Even though we never got the green flag stop, some drivers were worried, but yeah, we saw crazy speeds in the corners, which contributed to that. I don't think you'll see that tonight. I think you'll see things get spread out earlier because we're going to have much more off throttle time, probably using some brake in the corner, probably going to tune that bias to the rears a little bit to get the car rotating, because I think this will be the race where your right front tire is crying the most. So I'd be worried about those right front tires. You got to really slow down the middle of the corner. Can't be diamonding too much. Can't do too many crazy lines, or else you'll really wear it out pretty quickly. As qualifying is underway, 5 minutes to put 2 laps down, and we do have 1 DNQ tonight, at least from what I see. We didn't have any on Tuesday night. The first time this season we had none, but we'll have 1 going home tonight.
It'll be interesting seeing who makes the show and who's the lone victim in this qualifying session. But Connor, one thing that I wanted to point out, just how steep the difference is between the exit of turn 2 and then the exit of turn 4.
Yeah, they're pretty different as far as how you get through the corners, I would say. 1 and 2, you can get away with wrapping, in my opinion, and wrapping near the bottom, but turns 3 and 4, they're not really even at all to me. I've never felt the same in 1 and 2 like I have in 3 and 4. It's kind of like how Bristol is, where both ends of the track are kind of uneven, and it makes for an interesting exit out of 2 and 4. The 2, you can kind of get out of the corner well, even though you still have that jump to worry about. But turn 4, the exit to me kind of was always tightened up and made things really difficult to get out of the corner. That outside wall in turn 4 has seemingly always gotten a pounding, whether it's from me or from other competitors. So you really got to be aware that both ends of the track are not exactly the same.
28 to Travis Beckner just had a frustrating moment. I can't find where he is on the racetrack right now, but was not stoked about something that just happened. I don't know if he got the wall or didn't get the lap he was hoping for.
Looks like he's done. Yeah, he's down the order a ways, actually. So he did not have the Q lap he wanted. David Weishart probably did. We actually have a tie at the top of the board for now. David Weishart and Ryan Hartz.
Well, 2 guys really needing a good run. Weishart and Ryan Hartz as well. The 7 is Scioli. Not sure if he's going to be able to dethrone those 2, but not too far back is Jake Nichols and Braxton Deweese as well.
Yeah, Scioli's only made 2 starts this season. Back at Daytona, 36th there, involved in a crash. 10th at Charlotte just last time out. Ended up down a couple spots from where he started, but Hunter, anytime Scioli enters a race, you have to take note of it. And we'll see what the second lap will do for the Rick Sauce Chevrolet, but I anticipate him being pretty good.
Yeah, we'll just have to wait and see. 39th on lap 1, probably just getting the tires warmed up, but he is our most recent winner here last season in the shortened race we had. He led pretty much majority of that race and was still very fast, and he is trying his hardest to wrap the corners, see how it goes. He goes 153.676, and he goes top of the board by about 4/1000ths of a second with 2 minutes to go. Not very surprising considering he is a former winner here. Cameron Hearn's also a former winner here. He went 9th. I believe the other winner here was Ed Robertson, who I believe is here tonight, but I don't see where his time is. A little lower down the order, possibly. Oh, it's actually 10th, excuse me. It's right there. So all of our former winners in the top 10 right now.
It's interesting to note this is a track that seems to cater to experienced hunters, so maybe that will pay dividends tonight. Bryce Senesek begins his first lap.
Yeah, also kind of don't know where the winner of the race is going to come, because Season 2 Ed Robertson won from the 2nd row, Cameron Hearn won from the 7th row, and James Scully won from the 6th row last season. So the winner could come from really any spot. We're looking right around inside the top 8 to top 10, but see the 09 is Senesek looking to keep things going in the right direction.
New driver at the top, Zach Nichols. Not by a small margin either. 33 thousandths of a second quicker, which is quicker than the next 5 cars combined, Connor. So as far as differential, that's a really solid lap for the 44.
Yeah, very, very solid lap, as pretty much everyone's put a time down. Senesek's kind of just practicing here, I believe, although that might have been his second lap for all I know, as he'll actually go 33rd on the timing sheet, so not what he was looking for. Everyone's put a time down, except for John Furness, and he has not even attempted to put a time down, so, well, he will, but he's not going to get out there in time at all. So pretty much everyone's qualified. Our one lone DNQ looks to be Ryan Nowicki in the 74 car, and looking at the timing sheet, I believe he missed by about a 10th or maybe a little less than that, so not what he wanted. He'll go home. These drivers in the top 10 will not, and like you said, Hunter, the race winners here have started in the first 6 rows, so you need to be at the top. As you can see, the top 13 separated by just over a 10th of a second. It's a tight field.
Very tight indeed, and unfortunate for Nowicki. Yeah, it looks like he is going to be the lone DNQ from this race, Kyle, but still have 43 drivers in this race ready to tackle the monster.
Yeah, this is going to be 140 laps here tonight, and we'll be fighting a whole bunch of things, traffic, tire wear, all the things that we've documented before we got into the show here this evening. Race fans, make sure that you subscribe to the Area iRacing Twitch channel. As a subscriber, you'll have Area iRacing emotes to use in the chat, and you can earn double channel points that you can use to redeem for free merchandise for just $5 a month. Join today, twitch.tv/Area iRacing. Big field here tonight, Connor. We talked about experience here at this racetrack. You've actually had some pretty good runs here, although didn't quite go your way on Monday. Had to start at the rear and had to fight through it. Why is this track one that seems to favor the experience around here?
Because if you know how to get around here, you know the tricks and how to defend, how to pass and everything. It takes experience to pass and defend here. It's not like most other tracks like a mile and a half where you can kind of get the hang of it because of how similar it is to other tracks. Dover's kind of one of a kind. can only really compare it to Bristol. Even that's not really a fair comparison. Much higher speeds here at the Monster Mile, and it just rewards knowing what to do here. If you haven't ran here before in an Xfinity car, Cup, truck, whatever you're making your first start in, you just don't know how to properly get around the track, and you're completely out to lunch of drivers who know how to get around here. Making passes is tough. You have to have a sort of finesse to do so, and you have to have a certain sense of aggression to do so. Like we saw Monday and Tuesday night, it takes a lot to set up a pass. It takes even more to complete that pass. So it's going to be very tough for the drivers who are going in here. Feel like a fish out of water if they haven't been here a lot of times before.
It's also going to be interesting about tire management as well. You don't want to use up your tires too early, especially in this car where the right front can just eat up in about the first 5 or 15 laps of a run, and then you just start to fade towards the back. We've seen that a couple of times throughout the course of the season, but especially at a track like Dover, it's going to be real tough for those.
One of the drivers I noticed had a decent run in qualifying was Braxton Deweese, P6 in the qualifying run, and he dropped 12 spots in the points, Connor, because of a power outage last time out, looking for some better luck after having 11th at Daytona and a 7th at Pocono, but he wasn't able to participate in Charlotte. That put him behind the 8 ball, but right back up on pace in that top 10.
Yeah, he's one of those open cars that have had good runs to start this season, as he's the third open car in points so far this season, only behind JT Poole and John Forbes Jr. by single-digit points. Actually, those three are separated by 2 points, 14th to 16th. Forbes was one of those drivers who was almost in contention for the win last week. He got third, but Deweese has had a pretty strong start to the season, one of the rare Mustangs in the field. So we'll see what he can do tonight. Track temp, not as high as we saw Tuesday night. It's a little higher than I believe Monday night was. Pretty close in range, however.
Yeah, it is still pretty warm. So we'll keep an eye on that throughout the evening. Of course, our starting grid sponsor is Central Mobile Homes. Looking for a small or large home, a new shed, or a Triple Crown trailer? Look no further than Central Mobile Homes. They've been proudly serving Florida customers for 28 years with a plethora of small and large home floor plans, shed designs, and Triple Crown trailers. Available in LaBelle, Okeechobee, Clewiston, and Sebring. Head to centralmobilehomeinc.com to get started today. Time for our starting lineup here, and we'll rip through everything from front to back, all 22 some odd rows. Kick things off with row number 1, and it is Zach Nichols with a late charge to pole. He'll start up in front in the Chevrolet Camaro. James Scioli rolls off in second.
Third position will go to the 33 of David Weishart, triple threes in P3 position. Ryan Hartz will qualify into fourth position.
And starting in the inside of row 3, Jake Nichols in the 73. Braxton Deweese, we just talked about him. He rolls off sixth in the number 13 Ford.
Seventh position will go to the 2 of Greg Mitchell in his Camaro. Zachary Carr, he's looking for better luck. He hasn't had good finishes, but he's qualified top 10 in the last 3 races. He'll start 8th tonight.
Ninth place, John Forbes Jr. in the number 78. And Cameron Hearn starts on the outside of row 5 in the number 4.
11th place is, I believe, Season 1's winner here, or maybe Season 2's winner here, Ed Robertson. 11th, Philip Groner, 2-time winner this season, but starting a little further back than he's expected to. He starts 12th.
Yeah, he is the championship leader as it stands by 19 points. Andrew Payne starts 13th in the number 77. Justin Munsell, 14th in the number 6.
15th will go to the 83 of Nathan Jump. 16th place, always fast at these types of tracks, to 9 of Shane Fury.
And 17th place, Justin Sogak in the number 88. Jeff Wright rolls off 18th in the number 48 Camaro.
19th place will go to the 87 of Blaze McKinney. He impressed on Monday. We'll see if he can do a little better tonight. He starts alongside the 30, the hometown driver, Jeremy Miller.
Matthew Bell starts 21st in the number 43. Colin Fambro 22nd in the number 18 car.
Garrett Grant, I believe 269th area start tonight. He starts 23rd. Brody Falliker starts 24th.
25th place, Cedric Hunter in the number 70. Alex Bell starts 26th in the number 15.
27th place, the 29 Toyota Supra of Alex Weaver. Travis Beckner further back than he wants to see himself starting. He starts 28th.
29th place, Brad Slaughter Jr. in the number 8. Tom Bourne rolls off 30th in the number 16.
31st position, the 20 of Ryan Swan, who I believe won at Talladega last season. Alex Bryson, the 38, another Camaro, starting 32nd.
33rd place, Bryce Senesac in the 09. Ben Pierce rolls off 34th in the 65.
Zach A. Wilson in another Camaro, 35th position for his start. Shane Abbey in a Supra in the 84, starting 36th.
And 37th place, Casey Lakatos in the number 50. Joey Chapman on the outside of row 19 in the 60, 38th.
Sean Hayes, another Camaro. There's a lot of Camaros in the field. In case you couldn't tell, he starts 39th. Levi Heilman in the 99 starts 40th.
And starting in 41st, it's Bronson Stafford in the number 61. Rafe Slate rolls off 42nd And starting in 43rd will be John Furness in the 28 and the 74 will not run tonight. As far as our onboards, we've got a handful of them tonight, and here's a look at some of those drivers. Justin Munsell brings us his onboard. Bryce Senesac will do the same. Levi Heilman will give us his perspective. Rafe Slate in virtual reality, and Travis Beckner will give us his perspective with the Sunoco driver suit as he gets ready to go. All right, Connor and Hunter, let's start with Connor. Pick me your winner tonight. Who wins this race?
James Scioli, that's my choice. It's the Pro Series, so it's an easy choice, but still looking, I know he's looking for that first victory of Season 6 in the Pro Series, but I think outside front row, it's where you want to be on initial start when it's on green. I think you get the lead. I think you'll lead a lot of laps. I think the 7 wins.
Hunter.
It's a revenge race. He lost power last time out. Braxton DeWeese gets the job done.
All right, well, I think I'm going to roll with, let's see, let's look down the order. Who is up front? Might not be so obvious. I'm going to go with your championship leader. He starts 12th. Philip Groner wins this one in the number 11. Maybe it's obvious, but started a little deeper than I think he was hoping. 140 laps here at Dover. Miles the Monster is ready for a meal. Time to go racing in Delaware. Green flag, and we're underway in the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Lap 1 complete, and Zach Nichols takes the early lead here over James Scioli. David Weishart, Hartz, and Nichols the rest of the top 5.
Top 5 got single file. As I say that, Zachary Carr is trying to get to the outside of Jake Nichols, but wasn't quite able to.
And Braxton DeWeese starting to fade a little bit. Actually slides up there right behind the 4th Cameron Hearn, who completes the pass. Moving up to 7th as we go back in sim with the 6 of Justin Munsell.
It's kind of in the middle of the scrum right now here, just outside the top 10. As we roll out of turn 2, couple cars slipping a little bit wide here. A lot more horsepower than we were dealing with on Tuesday night. But Hunter managing that horsepower, managing the right front tire. It is a constant game of which tire you're putting load on. Is it the right front or the right rear?
Whoa, gotta ask Philip Groner in the 11. He had a moment there coming through turn 4 in the front stretch, but it's definitely the right front. Don't want to push the right front too much, otherwise you're going to be tight the rest of the way. As we see some more side-by-side action, Burley Falker in the 42 around the outside of Jeremy Miller in the 30.
Alongside each other down the front straightaway, 5 laps in already, and they will click off quickly. If this race were to go green from flag to flag, under 55 minutes from now to the checkers. But there will likely be some yellows and some strategy. We've seen that all week, Hunter, and I don't anticipate tonight being any different.
Yeah, I would say we have just a handful of yellows over the course of area being here for the Pro Series at Dover, but can't really get a good grasp of the yellows because it's season 5. That race ended prematurely, but here's the 09 of Senesac looking to break through into the top 30, trying to keep everyone at bay behind.
Lunges here. He's going to go to the high side of the 70. Right behind him is the 98 of Rafe Slate, who started back, I think, in 42nd or so. And Rafe is moving forward pretty quickly.
Yeah, Rafe with the virtual reality. Saw some drivers opt out of that last season, but it looks like he's still pushing through. Started all the way back in 42nd. Slowly but methodically, he's starting to work his way towards that top 30 and try to break even.
Up front, no changes. Using the high lane already. And this is something that we saw on Monday and Tuesday, is that both lanes, the inside and the outside, can be used for good or evil throughout the night. So we'll see drivers kind of trending up the outside, trying to pin people down. It just makes things really sketchy as we watch Jake Nichols go to the bottom here of Ryan Hartz in the 54.
Yeah, this is a fight for the 4th spot. Hartz on the outside, going to try and keep that 73 at bay for the moment, and he will. Using a little bit more tire wear for that, but mostly single file throughout the rest of the field. You don't want to push an envelope too early, but the 54 have to do so to keep Jake Nichols behind.
And Zach Nichols is just shooting out of a cannon. This is a fixed setup series, Hunter, but if I didn't know any better, he's got something special under that 44 Raising Cane's car tonight.
despite having mid chicken on the hood of that car, right now that driver's anything but mid. Currently putting on a clinic here throughout the first 9 laps of this run, as starting to look a little throughout the field. That's Brody Fowler, not Brody Fowler, that's Philip Groner, the 11, but right behind him is Andrew Payne. Kind of been stagnant to where he's run, and Robertson behind as well with the golden arches across his hood.
He had a moment coming out of turn 2. Have a look at this. 64 years comes up out of 2, tracks up behind. Really big slide there. Got it corrected and kept it straight. We saw another car in the
even
background.
behind him.
Yeah.
That was Brad Slaughter, who also had that big wiggle, and you don't want to see too much of that because that eats up the rear tires, especially if you had a moment like Brad Slaughter did. He was about 4 lanes below the racetrack coming out of turn 2.
Travis Beckner, the number 27, he has gone forwards, but he was frustrated with his qualifying effort, made a mistake. We saw it in the moment how frustrated he was, and this is a challenging racetrack to pass. It can be frustrating and take you a really long time, and you have to use up a lot of your stuff to move forward, but Beckner's done a nice job so far, keeping calm, cool, and collected, and keeping the forward progress moving.
Yeah, he had the fastest time in practice. So obviously he knows what he's capable of underneath that 27 machine, but starting to work on Brody Fowler. Gonna make a move to the inside, try to get around him for 21st, and right in front of him now is the Prime 9 of Shane Therian.
He'll slide up ahead of the 42, and you mentioned the number 9 to Shane Therian, another driver that has shown just pings of greatness here and there at times in different areas series. He could be a threat at any time, any moment. Jake Nichols, a little bit of pressure from Cameron Hearn as they head down into turn 3.
Yeah, Hearn's been just all over his bumper. Hasn't really pushed an envelope too much because he's got Zachary Carr behind him. But Braxton Deweese, John Forbes Jr., and well, Greg Mitchell is holding on to that 10th spot for the moment. Here comes Philip Groner to the inside, trying to take that position away.
Yeah, Groner wasn't waiting around, popped to the inside. Surprised to see the field kind of stringing out like this so early. So the rest of the week there was packs for quite a while into the run. This bodes well, though, to get a lot of green flag running in tonight, Hunter. One thing we haven't seen at all yet this week is green flag pit stops. This is probably the hardest pit lane in the entire series. Look at the inside there. That's where pit lane is. You got to get down to 35 miles an hour braking, aiming for that pit road entry. It is so hard to do. If we have to do green flag stops tonight, if you hadn't practiced, it's going to show.
Yeah, I think this track at Darlington are the 2 toughest to merge down from the degrees of banking. Darlington's pretty steep with only 2 racing lines. This one's a bit wider, but it's still steep. 24 degrees of banking. Got to get it low down, and don't want to speed. That's the number 1 issue. And then you don't want to obviously overslide your pit box. And we continue to watch the battle unfold with Blaze McKinney and Justin Munson. Yeah,
Blaze had a really nice run on Monday. I don't think he quite got the finish that he was hoping for. Still was inside the top 10, but really showed he knows this place well. Ryan Hartz and Cameron Hearn. Hartz is trying the outside here on the 4. That's tight out of 4, and they're all going to scatter. And the 54 is slow, and it's a kind of a sketchy scenario here.
Oh, yeah, and Hearn's still trying to find a way back on the racing line, but not going to be able to do just that until he gets to the backstretch. But the 54 was starting to fade a little bit. That's why we saw him go to the outside a bit earlier, try to keep Jake Nichols behind, but tried it again there and just got too much on the exit.
Yeah, let's have another look at this. I don't really know. I didn't see the 4 go off track. It looked like he just kind of slowed down. So here's a look. Gets to the bottom, hits the apron, slides up, tangles with the 54. He's in the fence, and then there's the 4. Yeah, he does kind of escape, doesn't he? When he gets down to turn 1, he's stuck on the apron, so that he just had to bail out of it. That didn't work out well for anybody.
I mean, Hart's kind of benefited a little bit more. He's still right around that top 10 spot, but Cameron Hearn has fallen outside the top 20.
29th now. That painful situation for him, and he'll be stuck. He was running up inside the top 10 and then to fall to nearly 30th. That's a frustrating situation. So this battle going on back here. 4 cars fighting for 30th place.
Yeah, one of them being John Furness.
Trouble.
He didn't get a lap
Turn
time.
3. Big crash. 83's in it. Nathan Jump. Rafe Slate, I think. Oh, he just had to slow down, but Jeremy Miller's in it.
It looks like he got into the tire barrier there.
Nathan Jump was the car that I had initially seen. First caution of the night at lap 21, and this was a what the heck?
Yeah, we're gonna have to back it up a little bit more. There's a lot to unpack from that.
So
Looks like it happened in front of them.
Yeah, it looked like there was a stack up ahead.
Around where Ryan Hart's is, maybe?
Yes, here's Ryan Hart's. They get together, 87 sliding, and then they just all pile in from there. And Sogak's in it. I think Brody Falliker got turned around.
Yeah, so I think Ryan Hart's was checking up on corner entry, and it just kind of accordion affected everyone behind.
Oh, some big hits there. The 2 was also sort of in it. He dodged and weaved through most of it, but there was a little bit of contact. What am I looking at?
The wrong person.
Was I looking at the wrong? I clicked on the wrong car, didn't I? No, thought it. Well, either way. Cars on pit lane, cars off pit lane, and 2 did not pit, including Justin Sogak, who I imagine is going to make a trip to pit lane because that car is destroyed. Zach Nichols did not. Connor, welcome back. You killed a bug, I heard.
I crawled in an AC vent, so hopefully it's gone.
Oh gosh.
It was not pleasant.
What kind of bug was it?
It's a palmetto bug.
Oh
They're big.
yeah, the big stinky.
They're not fun.
Yeah.
They're not fun.
Nope. Anyway, crash into 3, big stack up. The 42 and the 83 primarily involved. Looked like Jeremy Miller got a piece of it, and so did the 88 of Justin Sogak. Looks like Miller's gotten most of his car repaired. So interesting here, though, that everybody came to pit lane except for Zach Nichols. And I want to go back and see if this was, we only have a lap to do this, but was there a faking situation? Because I don't see why you wouldn't.
No, I don't think he faked. I don't think he thought people would take the tire set, I guess, after 20 laps, but the fall off was, looking at it, because I need to catch up, it was 1.3 seconds worth. So, I mean, that's too much to not pit, I would think. So he's going to be in he's going to have a big problem here, because all that track position he's had with the pole, he's probably going to lose it right here.
So he saves the tire set. That will only be beneficial to him if we go through all the other tire sets. So we'll see. Everyone else took 4. I thought maybe someone would try 2, but again, that's an experiment that I think we don't need to test. We've just seen so many drivers try it, and I guess on Monday it sort of worked. On Tuesday, you needed 4. But restart lap 24, got a nice 20-lap run out of the way before a stack-up caused our first yellow at lap number 20. Here we go. Restarts were tricky on Monday and Tuesday. Green flag, and we're back underway, and already a couple cars in the wall, and there they go. Big
Hart's
crash.
Beckner, Eitzen, I believe.
Wow.
Tom Bourne, Bryson, Bronson Stafford, Cameron Hearn. This is at least a dozen cars.
There's a whole bunch of cars in that. They're still wrecking down there.
Alex Bell got a big piece as well.
This will be one of those that we're going to have to look at in slow motion because how many...
Looked like it started with the 7754.
Yeah, so the 54 Hearts... Big gaps there. Check up even
ahead.
at the front row. 48, 27.
And then that's where it begins. That's where the carnage begins.
And then
it's on from there. And just like the real life crash in 2016 in a Cup Series, the track blocks and there's nowhere to go.
Yeah, I mean, some of the drivers that were at the back of this. I mean, Garrett Grant. Man, what a mess. Let's ride on board here with the 18 of Colin Fambro and see what he sees. Not much you can do.
He tried slowing down Hunter. It's just when it happens, we've seen it all week. When it happens, there's nothing you can do.
Especially on the front stretch, because that inside wall is there. It kind of just creates a catastrophe there for everyone else behind, because what goes up must come down, and then when they hit that wall, they just go careening back into the racing surface. And there's not really a whole lot you can do, and it just kind of becomes a big old roadblock.
Yeah, Jeremy Miller was lightly involved in the previous accident. This one, much heavier involvement here.
Never saw it. Neither did, I don't know if is that the 2 of Mitchell. Cameron Hearn was in late. No, that was the 12 of Zach Wilson who hit late. But this is a lot. At least 6 restart crashes. That's my guess. There's bumpers everywhere.
Ben Pierce had a big moment.
And he got pile driven by Miller.
Yeah, it was a real big mess. So we did see some gaps showing up there as well, and that was one of the contributing factors to some incidents earlier in the week. But I think also on Tuesday, Connor, we saw some trucks on the restart. Connor Urashak took the field up to the outside lane to give everyone a wider radius to accelerate on, and that seemed to really help some of those restart incidents. But 12 meatball flags we're hearing. So that is a large amount of destroyed cars that are going to go laps down here.
I'm sure the people who are tired of other drivers getting involved in a crash and staying out there are happy, because usually you get away with it. Not this time. You can see how little drivers are staying. The little amount of drivers actually staying out, it's about maybe 17, 18 drivers staying out. Everyone else, over half the field, has some sort of damage to repair from this. Ben Pierce just barely stayed lead lap. So did Jeff Wright, who had a great run last week at Charlotte. He'll try to have the same luck here. I don't think Alex Bryson's going to legally be able to do that, but we'll see if he stays lead lap.
I think Beckner's out. I mean, he's out, as far as I can tell, he's gone. He left our Zoom.
He's in the server, but he will not want to show his face because he's had to deal with issues all week in all 3 series.
Well, the other thing here is it's really hard to get laps back. I mean, we've got,
especially with all these cars destroyed.
I guess that's what I'm getting at, right? Is we've got 27 on the lead lap after starting with 43. If you're down in Beckner's spot, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 cars ahead of you that all need to get free passes before you even get one, and he's 2 laps down, or he will be. He is 2 laps down.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing. There's so many drivers destroyed that it's going to be a slow fight for the lucky dog as well. Hunter Jump. Stafford's going a 2nd lap down. I think Nathan Jump's going to try to stay 1 lap down. Miller, I don't know if he's going to be able to keep going. But there's a number of drivers who it's going to be tough to recover from. We're going to be down to like 28 lead lap cars after this.
Levi Heilman's on board. Ooh, he squeaked through, didn't he? Oh, boy.
Wait.
Nicely done.
Almost too early on the throttle.
Now he squeaked through.
He did a great job with that, actually.
Might have gained like 20 finishing positions because of that right there. We'll see.
We're going to restart with just about 30 cars running, 25 on the lead lap. Ben Pierce, the first car, 1 lap down. Big wreck on the first restart of the night. Is that a harbinger of things to come? 20 laps green, and then another 50 yards before back under yellow again.
Cameron Hearn, Zach Wilson, Cedric Hunter all calling it a night after that. Everyone else is going to stay in trying to get more repairs. Some drivers might blow up from their repairs. And Zach Nichols, once again, will not keep them high, Hunter, and we'll see if it works this time or not.
Well, it worked out for him last time. He was in front of the big one.
In that sense, yeah.
One way to look at it. Here we go to the restart zone. Zach Nichols is in command on old tires, remember. Back underway. Nice even lines into turn 1. The 73 is going to rip the outside lane here. I don't think it'll be much of a challenge for him to clear Zach on the inside, and Skyley's going to follow through, and this is where Zach Nichols is going to get just run over like a freight train here.
Yeah, as they pass the slow car of Alex Bell, Rafe Slate's another retirement from this race, but yeah, not much the 44 is going to be able to do. He's just going to have to weather the storm and hope for a timely yellow, a few timely yellows to get back even. Oh! They're going to make contact. Him and Forbes almost did, but they got away with it, but we're 3 wide. He's just hoping to survive. Oh, Groner gave him no room there. How did they get off the corner?
He is a rock in a hard place. That's a perfect way to look at it, as it was Braxton DeWeese that was actually making it 3 wide there, putting him in that tough spot, but he's outside the top 10 now, and DeWeese still side by side with Philip Groner for 6th.
Look at him here, dropping like a rock for sure, and actually did a pretty nice job. I mean, it was in a tricky spot. Everyone left him just enough room to maneuver. Spin, Casey Lakatos, turn 2, caution.
Caution's out. That will go in favor of Bryce Senesac. I believe he will be the lucky dog out of that, so Good for him.
Let's see what happens here. There's the one behind him and a little checkup out of 2, and whoop, that's all it takes.
And you're not missing a wall here, Hunter. If you spin, you're getting some sort of damage.
Yeah. With the amount of banking here, everything just slides down to the racetrack. So if you lose it, well, good luck, Charlie.
Ferdinand doesn't look too bad saying that.
Yeah, that car is actually in pretty good shape. The rear's got a pretty sizable chunk taken out of it. The 30 all the night, lap 32. Jake Nichols takes the lead on the restart. I wonder if the 44 will take the opportunity to hit pit lane, and he will.
Yeah.
So again, I'd have to imagine that he got fooled into believing something that he didn't want to the first time around, because this strategy just didn't make sense.
No, he just got caught out. He didn't think anyone would want to take the tire set at 20 laps. But yeah.
But 20 laps plus 12 of yellow. I mean, he didn't really gain a lot more than anyone else.
No, he had the pole. He was in control. This puts him behind for the rest of the race until he can get back to the lead. That's if he gets back to the lead. So it's a really unfortunate scenario. It's a type of wrong decision that can put you back for the rest of the race, and you might not be able to recover from that.
Well, third yellow of the night here at Dover, and Miles has had himself his appetizers. Well, our replay sponsor, which we've gotten plenty of replays so far tonight, Racing returns to the Hendry County Motorsports Park on September 7th, including 360, Top Gun wing sprints, Crusoe late models, factory stocks, and more. Tickets are $15 for adults with discounted prices for seniors and teens, and kids ages 5 and under are free. Come see racing at the southernmost dirt track in America, located in Clewiston, Florida, off U.S. Highway 27. Visit HenryRacing.com for more info. And as I've said in the past, I don't know what entertainment you can get for $15 anymore, but a night of short track racing sounds like a good time. And I really need to find myself my local Illinois dirt tracks to go to, because I think a lot of tracks are kind of similar in that they're pretty good bang for the buck. Support your local tracks.
Certainly need to. This is one of those tracks you need the support. I love Dover. It's just you don't have. I know it's not local. I'm joking about that, but you never. You just have to come here to experience a race. TV doesn't do a lot of tracks justice. This is one of them.
Pocono as well.
Yep.
I've seen Pocono in person. I never got to see a race, but I was down there in 2012 on a vacation, and we were passing by the track, and we found a road that led to kind of the outside of the tunnel turn, and you could see across the way the grandstands, and I don't think I've ever seen anything that looked bigger in my life than the front straightaway grandstands at Pocono. By the way, Connor, we're chatting in this broadcast channel about this palmetto bug that disappeared into your event. So my mom got one of those bug, it's like a reverse snowblower. It like sucks bugs. It's probably called a bug sucker or something. So it's just basically like a little electric fan pump thing that sucks through this big plastic tube into a container. But she uses it for those bugs, and I'm pretty sure that she's never emptied the container. So there's just like 70 of those dead corpses clicking around in there every time she pulls that thing out. Do you imagine? Like
no.
Just some massive being draws out this crazy-looking device, and there's just 70 dead people just floating around it.
I'm sure it would be shocking. I'm still calling this race on edge. I hate those big bugs, man.
I don't mind those.
I don't even know where it came from. I got no open windows.
Well, that's the thing.
That's the worst thing.
Are we calling it? Let me see if I have to Google to see if you're talking about the same thing. I call them stink bugs. Palmetto bug. No. Those are like the ones that look like roaches, right?
Yeah.
Okay, that I would be terrified about that for sure.
Yeah.
So I had these in my previous apartment. Yeah, they're ugly, and the thing is they're really hard to kill, and they're huge too.
Yeah, it flew in front of my screen
it flew?
onto. Well,
burn your house down.
I'm trying. What if I could? I'm not happy right now. I'm not happy about it. Probably going to be AC.
Those things suck. I was thinking they were like little stink bugs that you get. No. When I looked it up,
it's way worse.
Oh, yeah, that would definitely way worse. Anyway, let's get back restarted. Lap 36.
Please, let's get green flag racing.
Yeah, get this over with so you can go burn his house down. Here we go, green flag.
Cleaner start that time.
Oh, big lunge from Philip Groner to the inside.
Let me not speak too soon.
Yeah, they're almost 3 wide there. Blaze McKinney looking for a hole.
Oh, Scioli almost hung to the right rear of Nichols, but just couldn't quite do it. Actually, he was trying to hang the right rear of Zachary Carr. Carr got past him on the restart, so 97 to P2.
Well, a couple of guys getting into the wall there, but still single file for the most part. Some shuffling around, and then side by side for fifth. That's Groner and Weishart. Groner on the outside, Weishart on the inside, trying to keep the 11 at bay. But here comes Sean Forbes Jr. with a strong run.
Yeah, 609 moving a lot of their cars forward at the moment. Weishart to the bottom here, underneath the 78 of Forbes Jr. Didn't the 78 start pretty? No, I thought he started deep, but only 9th place. With Groner, 12th to 5th. So the points leader didn't get the best of starts, but things are trending his direction. It was my pick to win this race tonight, so he better move forward.
So 609 Motorsports, because that is 125 minus Jeremy Miller, 2 laps down with big damage. He was only a 609 driver in that crash as they're trying to sort things out at the front. Nichols, Carr, Scioli, Payne, and Groner the top 5. Single file pretty much all the way throughout the top 10. As I say that, Brad Slaughter Jr. making a pass, and Zachary Carr is going for the lead, and he gets the lead off of Jake Nichols.
Carr looking to boot scoot boogie as Nichols looks to complete the pass for second and keeps Scioli to third. Well, Andrew Payne over there sitting in fourth. Haven't talked about him yet, but throughout the chaos, Kyle, he's managed to work himself inside the top 5.
Now quietly working his way forward. Started 13th, and this is one of those nights for the 77 where a quiet night's a good night. You can either be quiet and irrelevant or quiet and unnoticed and just having a really good, solid evening, and that's the night the 77 has had so far. Hasn't made waves, but sometimes, Connor, you'd really like to not get talked about just because you're having a solid day.
Yeah, he's definitely one that needs it. He's 28th in points, went down 14 positions after last week, so he needs a good run right now. As Brad Slaughter, I thought he was in the wall, but he actually is just trying a way high line back just in the middle of, at the back of the top 10, I should say. So Payne, good run into fourth. Groner's trying to get that from him, as Justin Munsell's also trying to move up. He's to the inside of the 2 of Greg Mitchell for position.
Trying ever so slightly, but going to tuck back in line. Well, you saw the 77 of Payne look down low, had a look. Slaughter with a look now to the inside of David Weishart. Going to move up on the leaderboard. 9th for Slaughter, 10th for Weishart, falling back. Trying to stay inside the top 10, and Slaughter still using that outside lane to move his way from around the field.
So what's our fuel situation look like, Connor? We've got 20 laps on this tank for most of the field. So they pitted with 120 to go. Is that one stop from here to the end?
100% you're going to one stop here. You're not you really don't want to pit in the middle of a stint to make it even, especially at Dover, because a lot of times you're not going to get through a green flag cycle unless, without someone completely messing up pit entry, really. So if the fuel can make it that long, it's fine, but the tires probably wouldn't be able to. So I think you're going to see a lot of drivers try to stretch the fuel out as long as they can, hoping for that yellow.
We see the 78 of John Forbes Jr. now also utilizing the outside lane to get around Groner for the top 5 position. Groner going to hold his own for now as Braxton DeWeese is looking to keep the 8 of Slaughter at bay, but Kyle, that 8 keeps using that outside lane, and it's working for him.
It is, but this is one of those short-term gain, long-term loss situations. I think he's really arcing wide and then cutting down. And Connor, that seems like something that would just shred your tires if you do it for more than a couple laps.
It almost certainly will. We thought Ricky Springer on Tuesday night would fall off harder doing that outside line strategy, but he did lose positions back, but not as much as we thought he really would. So we'll see how it works in the Pro Series car. I think the wear should be a little bit worse doing it, but we just have to wait and see, got to get to that point before we actually see how the wear is. But he's getting good runs off the corner still. He's trying to go even higher of the 11 of Philip Groner. Groner kind of threw the block there a little bit, taking the air away, taking his line away. Slaughter has to stay in 7th for at least another lap as Zachary Carr's continued to drive away. He's about up to a 7/10 of a second lead, running laps usually faster than Jake Nichols, but last time by Nichols was a 10th faster, and this time by Nichols only a few hundredths faster.
Yeah, he's one that knows his way around this place with the older tires. As the lap car to the inside there, that is Shane Abbey, but seems like everything's simmered down for the moment. Slaughter's still trying to look on that outside lane, diamonding through the corner. Again, a strong run, and look behind. Zach Nichols starting to make his way through.
Yeah, this could actually work out for him, Connor, if we go green for a long time, because he's got 11 lap fresher tires. People didn't really use a ton of their tires, but it's going to make a difference. And it's been a lot more work, but he could get this lead back after fighting for a little while.
Well, he really needs to gain all this back. That'd be the best case scenario for him to have fresher tires. And if he could get to the lead while the long run continues, he could stretch that lead out further before pit stops. It could work out for him, which I'm sure he was not expecting it to even come close to working after he got hosed. But already back up to the 8th position. I think he'd be even happy with this recovery, but he's still got a number of positions he could still get. He's got Philip Groner up ahead of him, who actually got passed by John Forbes for 5th not too long ago. But he's got to get through Brad Slaughter first for 7th.
Yeah, quick yellow after the big one there with, who was
Everyone?
it? The one after. Who just spun out? Lakatos. Okay, I don't know why I had Sunsack on my mind, but it was that quick yellow that gave the opportunity to Zach Nichols, and right now Kyle making the most of it, passing Brad Slaughter for 7th.
Ryan Swan, 31st up to 10th, and now drifting backwards here. Brody Falliker behind is on slightly fresher tires. Falliker started 24th and went up as high as 13th before getting tangled up in an incident, so he's back now fighting inside the top 15.
He's one of those drivers who is trying their best to recover, as because of all this crashing, well, not the crashing, but the one big restart crash we had. Because of that, we're going to see a lot more lap traffic come into play. Jeremy Miller just got lapped. Travis Beckner with he's got the rear deck lid wobbling all over the place, I believe. He'll be lapped eventually, unless he just pulled off. As a matter of fact, he did just pull off, but he's still got so many drivers up ahead. Bryson Pierce, Anna Sogak, Jeff Wright, guys well off the pace who will probably be involved with a lead battle once they get lapped. Speaking of lead battle, it's heating up again. Zachary Carr pulled away, Hunter. Jake Nichols has reeled him back in while pulling away from Scioli at the same time.
Thy giveth a huge gap, thy taketh the huge gap. Now about a car length separating the front two. Meanwhile, in the back, you see the two red cars side by side. That's Zach Nichols getting around John Forbes Jr. for the top 5 position. Now hunting Andrew Payne for that 4th spot, but Nichols on the pressure for Zachary Carr.
Yeah, these front two. It seemed like Nichols allowed Carr to have the lead earlier, but now he's not going to allow him to keep it. Now that he's led a few laps, he seems okay with going back by, as Nichols passes Andrew Payne for 5th, and that 44 car continues to move forward and change for the lead. Nichols to the top.
Definitely seems like more team play there. Zachary Carr did not put up a fight with Jake Nichols, so the 73 back to the front. Scioli 9/10 of a second, make that 8/10 of a second back of the 73. He'll have to keep pace with Jake Nichols and get by the 97 if he wants a chance at winning this, but he's going to have Zach Nichols on his tail in a few laps' time.
Just a few moments, because the 44's got 11 lap fresher tires, and everyone else in the field right now been carving through the field like butter. So he's slowly creeping towards Scioli in that 3rd position, but Jake Nichols starting to pull away from Zachary Carr.
He was a 10th quicker than Nichols last time, and he really just a 10th quicker than everybody up front. Actually, Nichols ran a hair quicker than Zach, so that's interesting to note. The clean air may be helping. That was a big deal, I think, on Tuesday, Connor, was having clean air out front. That was a much stronger effect than I think we were anticipating.
I still think it's going to matter tonight. It matters at Dover no matter what car you put at this racetrack. Clean air is going to keep the tires in a better state, and the guys behind are going to struggle much more long run. Slaughter just hit the wall pretty good there. DeWeese is going to get back by for position. We're talking about those right sides wearing because of that line he was running. It seems like it started. He got up to 7th. He's back to 10th.
He's kind of stabilized inside this top 10 for the time being. 25.8 that last time by, about 3/10 slower than Jake Nichols. He's got David Weishart still lurking on his bumper, trying to reclaim that 10th spot.
And no contest there. Weishart going to drive to the inside, take that spot away. Zach Nichols has caught Scioli, about a car length between them now. They work by the 84 Shane Abbey into 3.
Might be the heaviest lap traffic we've seen all season. It's because of a big restart crash. Jake Nichols got really held up by Ben Pierce. Scioli's going to get held up by Pierce and almost had to make contact with the 65. Zach Nichols had to let off a little bit to give the 7 some room as 84 and 65 move up simultaneously. Nichols up to the right rear, really want to try to get overlap. Scioli really shut the door on the 44 there, was really tight, as he will stay P3 for another lap, as looks like Jake Nichols is going to get back that gap that he had over the 97, and Zach Nichols, too many Nichols, even though there's only two, but 44 gets the advantage over the 7, and now he has his sights set on P2.
I like to joke that he's the long-lost Nichols brother, but he might be to Jake and Tyler Nichols, but definitely fast like him, up to 3rd now, and, well, in the back you start to see teammate Philip Groner look to the inside, trying to get around John Forbes Jr. for the 6th position, but the 78's going to power through on the outside.
A lot of Zachs and Jakes and Johns and Nichols and Jameses. All sorts of people.
A lot of J's.
A lot of J's. There's that 11 on the outside of the 77 of Payne. Trying to defend from that as Blaze McKinney in the 87 now goes to the outside of him. Hunter becomes hunted pretty quick around here.
It looks like Payne's starting to fall off. Looks like the 11's going to start trying to go a little bit. Maybe try to stay with the 78 a little better. Those race leaders, you look at top 3 or 4, are still running 25.8s. This guy's 6th on back and then not 25.9 range, 26 flat range right now. So you can tell those leaders that cleaner air definitely paying off as the top 4 have really pulled away. John Forbes is in a good spot himself, but he's got a lot more cars in behind him packed up. Those top 4 are pretty spread out between those two, as that's 44 still charging. Jake Nichols was still a touch faster than Zach Nichols last time by, though.
Yeah, about 9/10 of a second separating Jake Nichols and Tyler Nichols. Meanwhile, Slaughter still trying to diamond through 1 and 2, get a good run on Weishart, looking to take 10th away. Gonna just apply that to the outside in 3 and 4.
Yeah, when you start running this outside line, you burn your stuff up, Connor. It feels like the more that you run it, the worse it's going to get. And so you're kind of, the problem is the only way to offset you losing all this tire is to find an advantage to stay fast, and that would be running up high. So it just kind of, it's a negative feedback loop of it's quicker up there, but it burns your stuff off. So to be quicker, you run up there and burn your stuff off.
Yeah, and it doesn't take too long to burn it up, and he's trying to even push that groove up even further, and he's starting to fall back even further, I think, because of it. Although he is keeping with the 33, who I think is struggling as well. But that high line, it's definitely a high risk, and I'd say medium reward. If you get a short run of 10, 15, 20 laps after running that high line and gain a bunch of spots, that's the rewards you get. You get to keep those spots, probably get a set of tires on, and no one can do anything about it, and everyone would probably be upset about it because they're thinking they're saving their tires. Some guy drives up on the outside, he's going to fall off, but when that yellow flies, they get a reset, and you have to try to pass them again, even though they're so fast short run. It can be very frustrating, as I'm sure the 77's frustrated. He's going backwards, but that's the risk reward of running that way higher line. He's the only one running that high, I think.
There's a good look at Slaughter out the bumper of Andrew Payne. Slaughter still trying to find his way in the top 10. Payne going to run that outside. Slaughter to the inside now. Start to see the run go towards the 77's favorite, and Slaughter going to have to regroup for that one. Oh, they just made contact, I think, because the 77 just got on the wall.
Yeah, if they didn't make contact, it was close enough to force, or to make the 77 think he needed more space and put himself in the wall. It was really tight either way. But the field is spreading out now, Connor, and this is going to get us into a rhythm here as we approach this halfway point of this race. Yeah, it's halfway, but it's only 30 minutes of racing. You really got to start kind of planning your race in reverse from here on out.
Yeah, it's getting really spread out because of how much of this back half of the field are damaged. 18th place Sean Hayes battling with Matthew Bell for that position. He's about 12 seconds back of our race leader, and that gap is extending every lap by about half a second. So that's how much of a difference there is between the clean cars and the ones that got in that restart crash and are pretty damaged. Case Lacadas is actually back up to 20th after starting tail end, but he's lost all this time in behind this battle. And there's plenty more actually decently clean cars like Heilman, Chapman, and Alex Bell, who's laps down, but a lot of cars stuck behind this battle as well.
Whoa, oh boy. Look at, was that Heilman? I think he got the wall coming through the front stretch, but turn 4, he slid through.
Watch this again. Levi Heilman dodged and weaved and made his way through one of the bigger wrecks earlier tonight. Really low on the racetrack, gets into turn 4, walks it up the hill, big slide all the way out to the fence.
You don't want to be all the way on the bottom out of 4 either. For some reason, if you're all the way next to where the pavement reaches the concrete, it can get your car really sideways for whatever reason. So you got to be very careful about your exit down there if that happens, as Travis Beckner is on pit road. I couldn't tell if he was one of the blown up cars we saw. That might have been Ed Robertson, the 64 who blew up, but you could tell that thing's destroyed. He's just going up and down pit road letting everyone by. As Jake Nichols continues to lead, Zach Nichols' run through the field is kind of stalled out. He has not caught up to the Zachary car, has not been able to battle him.
No, he did run a lap time quicker that last time by about a tenth quicker than Jake Nichols, but it's kind of stalled out a little bit. I think the tires are starting to get a little more even for Zach Nichols and everyone else. And around 50 laps on that run, Connor. Would expect to see green flag pit stops, but at this rate, I'm not sure when they would begin them.
It's kind of tough because, like we were talking about, you really are always worried about Dover having a yellow ruin the cycle because this is the hardest pit entry on an oval in racing, I think. It's so tough to get down to 35 miles an hour, so you really never expect to get through a cycle. Very few times we've been able to without incident, even fewer times without a caution coming out. So, like I said, I feel like a lot of these drivers are going to stretch the field as long as possible, but you'll surely have to see some drivers cutting this race maybe close to half, maybe pitting in the next 10 to 20 laps, but me personally, I'd want to run the field dry. I do not trust everyone to get through a cycle fully green.
Yeah, it's going to be tricky. Couple of cars dodging and weaving.
Tom Bourne getting out of the way.
But up front, there's Jake Nichols navigating some traffic, but 0.7 of a second advantage and pulling. And he's probably in the position, Connor, where he would like it just to stay green so he can run this race out and continue to build this gap.
Yeah, and he's still got a decent gap on the 97, but him and Zachary Carr pretty even at this point. Like we said, Zach Nichols has kind of fallen off. As a matter of fact, the fastest car on track might be the 7 of James Scioli. He's been running faster laps compared to the drivers ahead. He just got back to the 3rd position over the 44. Even further behind, Philip Groner showing speed. He's working over John Forbes Jr. for 5th.
Trying to, but yeah, this is a really tight battle. Forbes going to try it. Actually, I was Groner trying to come up and clear himself in front of Forbes. 78 still to the outside, trading a little pain even down the front stretch.
That got a little dicey between these two, but the battle is on for P5. Groner running up the hill, running back down to try to have a little bit more momentum on the straightaway to offset the fact that he's to the inside, but it's just not enough, Connor. You got to figure something else out if you want that spot.
Yeah, I see Forbes immediately as he gets clear. He gets back to a smoother line on the bottom, and in the meantime, the 11 of Groner switches things up himself, gets that run off the corner, probably trying to pull to be inside again. He might even try to get to the rear bumper, loosen his 78 up. As a matter of fact, that's exactly what he'll do, is that bright yellow 11 hood gets in the rear view of the 78, but didn't really loosen his 78 up, just kind of followed him through and got dirty air on the nose there, as that leads lengthening out even more. It's almost up to a second. The 7 and the 44 are catching the 97 in the meantime. 23 lead lap cars. And there's still battles all over the track, even with all the damaged cars. That battle for 17th and 18th has kind of died down. It's the battle for 19th where he got about 6 cars involved.
And this one's still going on between Groner and the 11, Forbes Jr. and the 78. He's going to try and do that.
Yeah.
Forbes gonna
we got loose though.
prepare for the crossover. Here he comes to the inside, looking for 5th, Kyle. These guys not giving up just yet.
They're not, but I think Groner's got it, and that was a very well-executed slide. The 8 cars in the wall. Brad Slaughter Jr., that'll allow Andrew Payne to go by and open the door for Shane Therian in the number 9, the orange car.
He's lost a lot of time just tapping the wall out at 4, but that's kind of how you need to create passes. You got to get a good enough run down the straightaway, you get positioning on the driver on your outside, then you need the room to slide up in front of him, take that preferred positioning on the outside, and then, Slaughter's going to try to pit. He's not going to make it. Goodness. I don't think he hit the pit wall.
No, but this is what I talked about. If you haven't practiced this, it's going to be real clear. Even if you do practice it, it's still hard to get right.
84 of Abbey's going to come down. If you didn't practice it at Dover, then you deserve what you get. I mean, this is a track you absolutely need to practice it multiple times, I think, not just once. I don't think once will do it here. So that's a reminder for him. Let's see if he comes down again. This time a little slower. He is in cleanly this time. So that's our first really lead lap car to pit scheduled on lap 80. Pretty much halfway when you'd want to split it up. But like we said, so dangerous to do when you know pit entry's that tough as the battle for 2nd. Scioli under car.
Yeah, still fighting for this position now. Starting to intervene with Zachary Carr as Zach Nichols gets a good look at the 2 in front of him. Scioli going to look to that inside again. Carr going to try and pinch him. Meanwhile, Zach Nichols going to take it all the way up to the outside wall.
That's risky up there with all those marbles up there, Connor. This is an abrasive racetrack. I don't know if you want to be completely in an uncharted territory, but Zach Nichols is willing to go where nobody has.
Well, oh, Scioli went for a big dive. He's going to slide up in front of Carr, and I think that's pass done. 97 will try to cross him over. He does not have the long run speed right now, but that did help Nichols, Jake Nichols, get a bigger lead. 1.3 seconds up on the 7. Now the 97 trapped at the bottom. He will get that. He will. Oh, he hit the apron. Carr had to save it. That really slowed up the 44, but I think Zach Nichols will have this P3 spot as Groner's closing in on both of them.
The Zach and Zach show still going on for the podium spot. Nichols to the outside, going to try and clear off corner exit. He will. So Zachary Carr falling down to 4th, and like you mentioned, Connor, Philip Groner in the 11 starting to close in.
Braxton DeWeese in the 13. A pretty nice run, kind of consistently in the top 10 tonight. And one of the only Fords in the field. Some blue oval representation inside the top 10. Had a pretty good night as David Weishart peels off, and he is going to make it, but just.
It's about as good as an entry as you can have while being out of whack. Colin Fambro from 15th tried pitting. There he is on the apron. He missed pit road as well. So another missed pit road. We haven't had contact yet, but we're getting there. Ryan Hart's pits. He's laps down. But I will say this, if it goes green, the 8 and 33 are in the best position, but they need it to go green because they're 2 laps down right now. Yellow now ends the race, as you can see, the 18 not even close.
I'll just be glad there's not a tire barrier to the inside of the pit wall for Matt Kenseth to hit.
Yeah. Let more drivers in. Kyle Mitchell, Fambro makes it in that time. Looks like Alex Weaver's going to pit from 19th.
Yeah, so green flag stops are underway now, and this is where things get pretty interesting. Zach Carr is going to peel off sideways.
Is that a yellow? He's off the track. It's not going to be a yellow. He's going to lose a lot of time, but he didn't hit anything, and maybe he's happy with that. Probably not, but
it's like an airplane landing. Any landing that you can walk away from is a good one. Any pit road entry at Dover you can drive out of is a good one.
I will say, if the leaders keep going, it's not going to kill him too much. He'll lose 2, 3, maybe 4 seconds, but getting in cleanly is the most important part. This brought a lot of leaders in. Forbes is in, McKinney's sliding in, DeWeese is in. This is the best part of the race, is watching people pit. Brody Falliker's in. This should bring the top 3 in, I would think.
Say if everyone's having issues, you got to imagine the leaders that could have issues. I mean, hard to fathom Jake Nichols making any issues, but there would be one. It would be again on the pit road. We've seen a number of drivers do that already, and Scioli, Zach Nichols as well. They're not prone to it.
Chapman had some smoke there, but one thing I'm noticing, excuse me, go ahead.
John Forbes Jr. made it in.
I will say this, if the 73 doesn't pit soon, he might get passed on track. James Scioli is quicker at this point by multiple tenths per lap, I would think. Joey Chapman, the 60 car, got a speeding penalty. There's Zachary Carr, who comes out of pit lane. That's the difference in tires. It's that much quicker, so these leaders staying out, losing a lot of time, but still hoping on that yellow. Scioli's in a pickle, got to get away from the 30 of Miller as the 21st position goes to Carr. He's actually going to stay 1 lap down, which is important. That's how good he was running, but number of drivers still waiting on that are very fast.
Crossing over to the 50 lap to go mark, about lap 90, as Jake Nichols still leading the way, but that gap's starting to diminish between himself and James Scioli bit by bit.
Munsel's pitting. He did not make it either. There he is on the apron.
Come back around again. About 50 laps to go.
99's pitting with the 1. Look how slow they've pitted. They're on the apron and still sliding. They entered turn 3 and they still had sliding issues. Bryce Senesak's, Hunter. Bryce Senesak pitting from 11th as well.
You're gonna make it through just fine without a rear bumper. Maybe that's the case. Just lose your rear bumper.
I would think it would make it worse, but whatever works.
So on the left-hand side of your screen, you can see the number of laps in the stint for everyone out here. 70 laps for the front 2. And Shane Therian is in his box. Justin Munsell is down there as well. So what is that? We've got about 8 drivers that owe us a pit stop here.
And they're still hoping this doesn't cycle out. If it cycles out, it's going to be tough to get back through the field with 40 to 50 laps left to go, even with the fresher rubber. He's to the bottom. He won't pit this time, though.
As second or third.
And David Weishart and Brad Slaughter would be the battle for the lead at this point. John Forbes Jr. might be in there as well. but you can see Slaughter, I think, just got, well, Weishart's actually catching Slaughter, but they're still a lap down and not in Lucky Dog territory quite yet.
So a lot of moving variables in this, as still waiting on pit stops from the first 5 or so cars. I think it's 6 actually. Everyone in the top 6 has yet to come down pit road. Nathan jumped as well, but he's back at 17.
Makata's just pit as well.
Jake Nichols, Scioli, Nichols, Groner, Wright owe us a pit stop. The top 5. See if Jake Nichols.
7.
7's down. Will anyone follow him? Doesn't look like it.
Justin Munsell got caught speeding as well, so he had to serve a pass through or a hold, whatever the penalty is. But this is going to be interesting for Jake Nichols now. You know the 7's going to beat you probably for the presumptive race lead on fresh tires, so either go even longer or you got to respond right here. He's on the bottom. It looks like Jake Nichols is going to have to respond.
Here he comes.
Philip Groner in as well, Hunter.
73 slid the tires a little bit. Philip Groner getting through just fine. Zach Nichols still gets a pit. There's Senesac with fresher tires just flying by on the outside.
I got to tell you, Hunter, I think these leaders are stunned it went this far. I don't think they were expecting it. Oh, look out.
We were so close to having a yellow with the 97 sliding onto pit lane. Here comes Zach Nichols. Big slide. And he gets it woed up just in time. He'll be the last, I believe, of the front runners to make their stop. That will turn, in theory, the lead over to Weishart and Brad Slaughter. Here they are on the front straightaway.
Yeah, this should turn the lead over to them, and we'll see if this works out. Like I said, they pit pretty much in the middle of the tire run at the stint, so this should work out well for them. They were the ones who took the risk of not getting the yellow during the cycles. It's going to work out for them better than I think they ever anticipated. Same thing for John Forbes Jr., who I thought pit much later than these guys. He's got fresher rubber right now than the 8. He's in a good spot for this as well.
Yeah, he's got about 7 lap fresher tires than Slaughter, 3 lap fresher tires than David Weishart, as now everything cycled through. So Weishart leading, Forbes moves up to 2nd, Slaughter down to 3rd. And even Blaze McKinney as well. Don't want to leave him out of the picture yet, running 4th, and Braxton DeWeese in the top 5.
And look at Zachary Carr. He had a full spin, and he still came out 6th in all this.
Yeah, and he's still got better tires than at least Weishart and Brad Slaughter Jr. Now, the front runners that were in that main fight that hit a little later, James Scioli is the front running car in that. He's 10th, 9 seconds behind David Weishart last time by. He was only 3/10 quicker. So, Connor, to your point, I think the math worked out really nicely for those that pit a little earlier in the stint.
And I would think that tire advantage they have should even out a little bit. But we had a little door banging there with the 8 and the 87, but I think that will even out. It'll work out in favor of the 33 and 78 even more, especially with the gap they have now, as I think Scioli is going to be trying. He's going to have to charge really hard to get through the field, as we got word Zach Nichols, 44, too fast on pit road.
Oh, man.
So that takes him way out of the fight. It'll put him at least 1 down, maybe 2, maybe 3. It's a big penalty here.
That is brutal.
Had a great recovery, too.
Yeah, and even for those that, like Weishart, Forbes, McKinney, even if you were to get a yellow now, Connor, everyone would just pit because tires are king, and they would still, in theory, remain up front. So this has really worked in their favor. And I think you're right about the tire advantage going away. It's about 3/10 to half a second, depending on what car you're looking at in relation to them. And there's just a long way to go before those tires will in theory, equalize out.
The only thing I worry about is if Scioli's long run pace might be able to outlive that tire advantage, or the tires evening out, I should say. I mean, his long run speed was the best of anyone else on the field, on the track, I should say. As the 28 blew up, Furness, he was multiple laps down, but the 7's long run speed was the best in the field. He was closing in on the 73, multiple tenths per lap. So that's what I worry about with the 33 and 78. Plus, between the 33 and 78, them battling for the race lead might bring the 7 back into it even more, because that race for the lead's about to heat up.
Yeah, I mean, at some point the tires do even up. 11 laps is the difference between those for Scioli and for David Weishart, but I think at some point, if this run goes green to the finish, that the 7 eventually will get up there. But Them battling for the lead will definitely bring him in a little bit closer as Forbes looking to do just that to the inside of Weishart.
He's just got much quicker car at the moment, 0.2 a lap faster, but Weishart goes to defense mode, tracks at the racetrack, carrying more speed, using that wider arc to have to steer, brake less. Here comes Forbes, a nice big run through the center of the corner, and he should be able to pull even on the backstretch and maybe clear him into 3, Connor.
Yeah, I think he's just driving a little deeper, slide him into 3. Should have it, but he didn't drive it in too hard, but he didn't really even need the slide to 33. John Forbes Jr. has a top 3 run last week, and he's trying to improve on that. He gets the race lead.
Look at the dethrone Philip Groner and Jake Nichols as the only 2 drivers to have won a race so far this season 6. Here he goes to the inside of a lap car there, but trying to drive away and build as much of a gap as he can from himself and the 7 of Scioli.
So his last lap was a 25.3. The only car that's sub 25 seconds right now per lap is James Scioli at 24.8. That is quicker by quite a bit, but it's still a nearly 6-second gap. And there's only about 14 minutes of racing remaining, Connor. Even once he gets there, it's still going to take him at least 3 or 4 minutes just to figure out how to get around him, even with the tire advantage.
Yeah, he's going to have to work hard to get by all these other slower traffic and keep the tires in a good state right now. It's like right here, he's going to get boxed in behind the 77, going to lose him a little bit of time. In fairness, he has cut the gap. He has cut the gap under 6 seconds already. He's actually passed the 8 of Slaughter, who was one of those early pitters, so he's still got a decent bit of life in those tires to chase those top 5 down, but he's already closing in on about 30 to go.
Well, there's plenty of time to close the gap down as slicing and dicing through not only lead lap cars, but lap down cars as well. I think it's Travis Beckner to the outside, staying out of the way, but yeah, now he's about a second, now less than a second behind Zachary Carr, trying to pass him for the top 5 spot.
Jake Nichols is not too far behind Scioli here. He's got a lap fresher tire. I don't think that's going to make a huge difference, Connor, but what will make a difference is Jake Nichols' tire management. He might be one of the best in all of area to be able to save Goodyear rubber here in iRacing. So I would not count out that 73 just yet if we're considering the 7 to have a chance.
I would count him out either. If it takes a 7, if the 7 gets there and struggles to pass the race leader, that might be what brings Jake Nichols into it. But like I said, the 7 showed much better tire saving last run than the 73, and the 73 had clean air for a lot of that run and still could not save him, as well as 7's going to cross over the 97. That car's going to hold up the 7 a little bit there, maybe helping out his teammate a little bit, maybe not on purpose, but still a long way to go for the 73 to really battle the 7 for that position, as Scioli into the top 5, under 5 seconds to the race leader.
Long way to go, short time to get there as the 7 and the 73, and now Nichols going to get by Zachary Carr with these, but their main focus is to try and get to John Forbes Jr., but more importantly, Kyle, to get inside the top 3, because then they get to talk to us after the race, and that spot's being held by Blaze McKinney.
Yeah, Blaze McKinney trying to catch David Weishart right now. He's been a few tenths faster. He's got 3 lap fresher tires. This battle's going to key up here before anything will for the lead. It's giving John Forbes an opportunity to run away as well and build a gap without being harassed by this little scrum that's happening for second place with just over 25 laps to go.
He should keep the tires in a decent condition, being in cleaner air. He will still have a little bit more traffic to deal with, including the 30 of Miller, who is not going to let the 78 go very easily, but he's so down on speed he might have no choice. But Forbes should be able to keep the tires on it. Him and Miller actually made contact. The 30 and the 78 hit out of turn number 4. Miller 7 laps down, slowing up the 78 a little bit.
There's a look at it.
Yeah, this is an interesting look.
I mean, he's teammates with the 97, 73, but he's 7 laps down. I don't think you need to hang on the right side.
Probably not.
And Forbes actually gave him room, I thought, enough to get out of the corner. Miller kind of came down on him, so I don't agree with that, but
didn't really do anything
Forbes
wrong,
too much.
But again, it's one of those things where it's gentleman's agreement, right? It wasn't a rule infraction by any stretch, but yeah.
It really...
As you said on Tuesday, Connor, not going to be on the Christmas list of John Forbes Jr.
No, and that really cost him a lot of time. James Scioli was 0.6 of a second faster. The gap's down to 3 seconds, but notably, Jake Nichols has gone through in front of James Scioli.
How did that happen?
Now that is a huge moment.
When there's a will, there's a way.
Happened like this. Is that a turn 2 last time around?
Nichols on the bumper, looks to the outside. Scully didn't really defend it, and Nichols throttles up to get to the right rear, take advantage of that, and that's all it takes. Get into positioning on the outside to make it happen. He almost gets boxed in under Heilman, but just not able. The 7 wasn't able to clear up in front of a 73. Now they're still going to battle through. 7 had another shot in the turn number 3 on the Jake Nichols, but couldn't get it done. So these two are battling each other as much as they are the track trying to get to the 78 of Forbes.
And Blaze McKinney is leading the battle for second now. Here's Jake Nichols, who's gotten by Weishart. And now Nichols only has one more car to pass before he'll catch John Forbes Jr. next.
I didn't think a lap difference would help the 73, but it's clearly something. I don't think much happened to the 7 to slow him up. It just seemed like Nichols took an opportunity where the 7 was caught sleeping and took advantage of it. Now he's in position to get John Forbes.
Yeah, about 1.5 seconds now separating Forbes and Nichols. Scully clear of third from Blaze McKinney. And it's just a matter of time, feels like. Still plenty of time left in this race, Kyle.
No, it's so interesting how the dynamic has shifted from, there's not that much time to there's a lot of time, right? Jake Nichols is absolutely flying right now. That tire management is absolutely working in the 73's favor. I know it's only one lap fresher tires. I don't think that makes a significant difference, but it's a tenth or so a lap over Scully, Connor, and that's what's making the difference now.
It certainly is making a difference. Scully's going to stay with him until the very end, but Jake Nichols still has to make the pass on John Forbes. If he struggles for even a lap or a lap and a half getting by John Forbes, once he gets there, the 7 of Scully's going to pounce at any opportunity he can to get to the right rear quarter panel of the 73. They're going to battle each other probably harder than they'll battle the 78.
4/10 quicker that time for Nichols and Scully. 26 flat from Forbes, 25.5 for both Nichols and Scully.
What John Forbes really wants right now is a yellow. Stall their progress, get on the same strategy, and just try to outrun them. But right now, the rate Jake Nichols is catching him, it's going to be a lap before he's there.
Scully was faster than the 73 that time, though, but he's going to have to repass Jake Nichols. He's going to have to pass him. Hasn't passed him all race, technically, on track, but he was a touch faster. Big slide from Blaze McKinney in 4th. As that battle for 5th might heat up, Braxton DeWeese has caught David Weishart while we still wait for the battle for the lead to get closer. It might get closer now. Big wiggle from the 78, and Jake Nichols is now there.
Here he comes to the inside, looking for the lead, and he's going to try and clear him with these in turn 2. Not going to be enough. Forbes going to have a run on the outside. Here comes the 7 of Scully.
Now, this is not what Jake Nichols needs, because Scully's going to see this as an opportunity to get the 73, but now Forbes is right in the middle of the road, and Scully can't throttle up in time.
Nichols didn't clear him in the corner, but this 878 just didn't have the tires to get out of the corner, and Nichols was able to slide him into 3. Scully's going to try to do the same thing, just slide up in front of him. Now he'll have to chase Jake Nichols back down, lap traffic in front. Bryce Senesac, who is a lap down right in front, but then you have Alex Weaver, Ryan Swan, Matthew Bell, multiple lead lap drivers not too far ahead of Jake Nichols.
Even behind them, they're still slicing the dice, and almost 3 wide in the back. Philip wow! That was almost a crash between Zachary Carr and Levi Heilman. I don't know how that wasn't a wreck.
They got him bottled up pretty good there. The 48's just out there for recovery. He's still 2 laps down after being involved in that restart collision back at lap 24. Jake Nichols leads by 0.3 and was a hair quicker, 0.05 than Scully, but the traffic is going to be the difference, I think, with 16 to go.
It all depends. Senesac let them both by. He'll have to let Forbes by as well, who will likely fade out of this battle. But like we said, we got at least 3 lead lap cars who are going to try to fight to stay on the lead lap at the end of this race with the 73, not to mention the other slower traffic still running around here. I think the 7's going to have the advantage in these last 10, 15 laps, but it's going to be so hard to make that pass work at this point in the race. Jake Nichols will not give him any room. He's going to get slowed up by Abbey here.
Could be the chance that Scully needs, so they cross the stripe. 15 to go now. Scully's still trying to diamond it through on the outside and going to have a pretty good run through turn 2.
This is a classic battle, isn't it? Scully versus Nichols, 2 of the juggernauts of the Area iRacing series across all 3 over their time in this league. Both extremely talented drivers in their own right, and it is a rare treat to see them get to go head-to-head together with 14 laps to go here at Dover. Scully trying a different line to find some grip over Jake Nichols.
Trying to get out of Jake Nichols' dirty air. Went a groove higher there, seemed to work. Got a big run out of turn number 2. Not close enough to get alongside, but he doesn't want to get alongside. entering the corner. What he needs to do is get a better run exit, have a better run down a straightaway, slide him into turns 1 or turn 3, and that's his opportunity to get the win away from the 73. As this battle for 5th won't go away, Braxton Deweese has been working over David Weishart. He finally cleared him, and Philip Groner is going to be able to at least try to get by with 33 as well, while the 7 once again gets a better run than the 73 out of the corner. He's only a car length behind with lap traffic ahead.
Trying to set it up perfectly with the lap cars intervening here and there, but through this time on turn 4, a strong exit again for the 7 of Scioli. I mean, catching him is one thing, Kyle, but you got to figure out a different way to pass him. Oh, contact! Deweese and Groner on the front stretch.
Yeah, it's getting physical out there between a couple of these cars. Big lunge from the 11 of Groner up the racetrack. He did not like that, and he shovels the 13 out of the way.
That was just him being sick of the battle, saying, I'm faster, I'm getting rid of you, and that's exactly what he did. Just shoved him up the corner to get the 5th position. Scioli can get within a car length of the 73. He just hasn't been able to get back alongside since he lost control of the race, but this might be his opportunity. Alex Weaver not going to lay over for the race leader. Nichols at the apron, big run from Scioli. Where does he block? I think he has to block. Make him go to the inside. That's exactly what he'll do.
And the 7's going to try to use the lap car as a pick. Out of turn 4, coming to 10 laps to go. They're 3 wide.
Oh, Weaver hit the wall in front of Jake Nichols, and James Scioli's going to take the lead because of it.
Wow.
Oh, Nichols ain't going to be happy about that either.
Wow. Yeah, wow is right. I don't think he's going to be happy. There's still time for Nichols to try and reel him back in, but that was a pretty crucial moment there for lap traffic to be in the way. That's just so happened what Scioli needed, and that's exactly what he got.
I don't think Nichols will be happy, especially after Ryan Swan laid over. Weaver's trying to stay at lead lap, but he also gets loose. I don't think he expected Jake Nichols to try the 3 wide middle, and he hit the wall, giving too much room, and the 73 just had nowhere to go because of it.
Can't hit the disappear button. It's not going to dissolve out of thin air, but it just a squeeze there, and Nichols got the short end of the stick. He's 4/10 back now. That's a lot of ground to make up to run Scioli back down. 8 laps to go, and James Scioli's put himself in a really nice position.
Yeah, that's going to be a shame for Nichols if he can't get back there. Matthew Bell lays over for the 7, and that should be majority of the lap traffic done. It was really those 3, as 43 will let the 73 through just as cleanly. But it's going to be tough for the 73 to regroup now.
If you're Jake Nichols, Connor, do you start running that really aggressive high lane with knowing that you don't need the tires to last?
Well, you have a big gap over 3rd place, and Forbes has worse tires, so I would say try something. But saying that, he doesn't have that clean air on the top. Scioli blocked it, ran just as high as a 73, and he continues to pull away. So he's taking his line at all costs as Nichols. Now he's going to go to the bottom, take that clean air that the 7's giving him.
I mean, looking up, he gained 2/10 that time running the bottom. He's going to lose a 10th on corner exit, but there's still time for the 73 to try and make something up.
Yeah, Scioli's taken his line away. Nichols made a big gain in the center of 3 and 4, but as Hunter mentioned, lost it all. And it's a little gain there, a little loss there. It's just not much happening, and he's running out of time. A dramatic tail end of this race at Dover, and it's just about 5 miles from being complete. 5 laps to go for James Scioli.
He continues to pull away a little faster that time as well, as I don't know if they'll catch Ryan Hartz, but if they do, he's multiple laps down. He almost certainly will get out of the way, as Nichols is trying everything. We don't know how much damage he has either. We don't see any, but who knows how much damage he might have. But more battles throughout the field. I see Philip Groner catching Blaze McKinney, but he's not there quite yet. The battle for 8th is quite hot, I should say. It's actually for 7th. David Weishart is holding on to everything he can. Zachary Carr's a touch faster, but struggling to pass at this point.
Yeah, Weishart trying to hold on to 7th car in the wall back there.
Heilman, I think.
Yes.
Yeah. So no cautions, still rolling with less than 4 to go from Dover, but Carr trying to get around Weishart for 7th.
125 green flag laps, 11 of them under yellow. This has been a lot of green flag running here tonight. Been a treat to watch. Scioli leads by half a second, and I think Nichols, his time is burning up without a big mistake or traffic from or for the 7.
They ran the same exact lap last time by Scioli to Nichols, so that shows how tight these two are on the long run. But there's just, I think Jake he needs a yellow. It's the only way he's getting there without some sort of catastrophic mistake, and that doesn't seem likely, being as Scioli's won, 3 straight Pro Series titles. He is the guy in this series to beat, even still.
Still rolling through, 6 car lengths separating the front two with 2 to go. Forbes clear of third by a second. Blaze McKinney, Philip Groner, that battle for fourth might be heating up as we're heading to the white.
White flag, 1 lap to go for James Scioli. Connor, he has done his job.
He's done great. He lost the lead, got it back. White flag, 1 more mile to go around the Monster Mile as the battle for 4th and 7th. They'll continue to the checkered flag, but the battle for the lead is all but determined. Nichols closed into 4/10 of a second there on the bottom, but it's not going to be enough, Hunter.
Not going to be enough, indeed.
James Scioli through 3 and 4. Only his 3rd start of the season, but a multi-time champion is back in victory lane at the Monster Mile. James Scioli wins at Dover.
Nichols 2nd, McKinney just held on the 4th, Forbes 3rd, Groner 5th. The Weiss Weishart car, Theory and Payne the top 10, and only about 14 lead lap cars at the end of this one, but what a race, what a finish.
Had about everything that everyone wanted. We had Gary racing a long green flag run to the finish, and even a big wreck, even though it was on the initial, well, one of the restarts of the race, but nonetheless a solid finish for everyone. And don't think Jake Nichols is going to like it, but James Scioli definitely will, because he's going to victory lane.
Yeah, Jake, I think, usually pretty eloquent even when he loses, but I think we all won that one. That was a fun race. James Scioli burns it down. He'll start stacking up his Miles the Monster trophy, which I still think is one of the coolest trophies in NASCAR.
2 in a row. Last season, this season. And that's what Dover's about. You get these long runs, you get high tire wear, you're slipping and sliding, you're running to the outside wall all the way to the bottom. That's what we wanted to see all week. We finally got it with the Pro Series cars. He even dinged up the rear bumper to pass Tech.
Well, let's have a look at the race results before we have a look at, or talk to the drivers, I should say. All Chevrolets at the top 10, save for Shane Therrien's Toyota, and the Ford of Braxton DeWeese, finishing exactly where he started in 6th place. Jake Nichols and James Scioli, great battle there. John Forbes Jr., strategy still paid off, I think. 3rd place, not a bad run there, Connor.
Yeah, the fresher tires prevailed much better than I thought they would, but he was able to still continue to finish 3rd. Weishart the 7th. He did finish better than where he was running, and a few others there who ran well, got great finishes. McKinney, Groner, Zachary Carr, he needed a good run and a clean run. He got it, finished 8th. Therian climbed to 9th. Andrew Payne held on for a top 10, so great run for him.
There's the results for the rest of the field as Brad Slaughter just missing out on that top 10. Fambro, Mitchell, Falker all finishing on the lead lap. Then Matthew Bell, Weaver, Ryan Swan, Levi Heilman, Casey Lacoste, despite being the cause of the last caution, still solid finish for him in 19th, and Sean Hayes rounds out top 20.
And looking down the rest of the order here, and a lot of these were drivers involved in that restart collision on lap number 24. Jeff Wright, Bryce Senesac, Joey Chapman, Ryan Hartz, we didn't really get to see a lot of after that collision. Put him 8 laps down. Jeremy Miller involved as well. Shane Abbey, Alexander Bryson. And here's really the unfortunates list. These were the cars that were out for the night after big crashes, including Travis Beckner in that number 27, who was caught up in the melee. Well, there's a look at your results. Let's talk to your drivers up at the front, and Jake Nichols comes home in 2nd place tonight. That was a fun race, a lot of green flag running, Jake. It came down to the last 10 laps or so, but just kind of got pinned in there with some lap traffic, and it was a fun fight to watch, but I'm sure you would have rather been on the other end of it.
Yeah, I mean, it's always fun racing James, so it was going to be a good battle. I think we would have held him off. He was a tick quicker, but with how dirty air was, just enough. There was just enough there that I think as long as I just kept doing what I was doing, we were going to stay ahead of him. At least enough to, you know, he would have had to do something really aggressive on the last lap or last few laps, but I don't know, it's just frustrating. You got to have awareness in that situation as a lap car to just get out of the way. I get you're racing your race, whatever, but when you see leaders battling in the last 10 laps for the win, you just gotta think heads up there. Like, I don't know, it's whatever. I think that car got a black flag cleared earlier in the race. That should have been a penalty, so it'll be fun to look at that. But either way, 609 car was awesome tonight. It's a great points night either way for team and for myself. And James always, like I said, James always fun to race against. So it's not it doesn't hurt my ego or my feelings losing to him. He's very talented. That's obviously the reason why we try to get him on Mondays, and we did on our team. I think he's an amazing talent. So either way, it was a fun race. Awesome to see Green Flag Racing out there, and I guess get some momentum before the road course. I don't know how my speed's gonna be there, but I guess we'll find out.
Jake Nichols, second place tonight in the 73 for 609 Motorsports. Jake, thanks for talking. Congrats on a solid run tonight.
Thank you.
John Forbes Jr., strategy worked out, finished third place, John, but I think maybe if you could run it back, would you change the strategy at all? The podium in the top 5 is not a bad night, but just needed a little bit more at the end.
Yeah, that we needed a little bit more tire. We kind of rolled the dice, came in early compared to some of the other guys up front, but that was kind of my strategy. I was just kind of waiting to see when the top 5 were going to start coming in. I think third or fourth came in. I was like, all right, we're going next lap. So, yeah, that's what we did. And honestly, I thought I was going to drop off more than I did, but the top 2 obviously pit way later, had way fresher tires. I could not even defend it at all. But yeah, overall it was a great run. Another third place to keep on some momentum. Just got to thank Lucky Ducks Motorsports for the great ride tonight. Yeah, it was a fun one. I loved that last 100 lap green flag run. That was a blast.
Yeah, really nice to get some green flag running in. As we look towards the rest of the season, you move up 10 spots in the points, up into 5th place with one less start than the rest of the field here. But we head to a road course next week. It's going to be an interesting change of pace. How do you feel about heading to Sonoma?
Yeah, I'm still looking for some pace. The road courses I can always run, mid-pack, upper mid-pack, but I got to work on some pace. So yeah, that's what we're going to do this week. We're going to put some practice in, and we're going to try to get this thing for a solid top 10 finish next week.
All right, John Forbes Jr., third place tonight in the 78 Meals on Wheels Camaro. Thanks for chatting, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night.
You as well. And James Scioli comes home and a multi-time champion in the series. Perhaps it's no surprise to see you back up here. This is only your third start this season, but you can have yourself a win. And in dramatic fashion, passing Jake Nichols there with a little bit of lap traffic as a pick. You advance 19 positions in the points, but tonight was a fun one. James, take us through your evening.
Yeah, it was a blast. A couple of early cautions, but that was kind of to be expected. It was another hot race. Race was at noon. Pretty loose setup, so to be expected. I didn't expect that long of a green flag run to the end. I don't know the last time I've had green flag stops at Dover, so that was really fun. And yeah, just slip sliding around the whole time. And I really found something in that third groove. I don't think Jake could do it as well. I don't know if he was maybe too tight or too loose, but I was just able to kind of enter on that third lane and exit on the bottom and just get huge runs. And kind of sent it 3 wide on the lap cars there. I knew it was probably going to have to be lappers that set a pick that got me the win. It's just so hard to pass here with dirty air. I might have been able to do it if I got a big enough run, but it was going to be tough. And saw my opportunity. Felt I still gave Jake enough room. It was just kind of closing up there, and I think it was Weaver ended up getting the wall, which really hurt him. So sucks that it kind of ended that way. Would have liked a bit more of a natural finish, but I mean, like 100 laps to the end is pretty awesome.
Well, take us through that strategy, because green flag pit stops, I don't think a lot of people were anticipating that. When you make the decision to come down, is that something that is based on what everyone else is doing, or do you have a pre-calculated number in your head for the tire wear and the conditions that sort of tell you when you should hit pit road?
Normally at bigger tracks, I'll have like a pre-calculated number. I'll just try and split it right in half. The data will kind of tell you that's the fastest. But here at Dover, you go 2 laps down pitting. So for me, honestly, it was more just I didn't want anybody behind me, so I didn't have to call out my pit over the chat and have Jake hear me and maybe sneak in right in front of me, and then I just sit behind him the whole time. So just want to make sure I undercut Jake by a lap. I figured he'd wait until I pitted anyways, so I was a little worried that maybe we stretched it a bit too long with how some of the other guys pitted, but I think that tires were just so important here. So just having the bit fresher rubber at the end really helped you get through lap traffic and ultimately helped us get the win.
James Scioli back in victory lane in the Florida State Builders Area Pro Series. Congratulations. We'll see you next time.
Thanks, guys. Want to first say thank you to you guys for all the broadcasts, the admin team for everything they're doing. And then a lot of people to thank here: Elwood Designs, Roderick Racing Development, Dandles Candles, Buck Kicker, Chris Sports Cards, Matco Tools, and Rick's Hot Sauce, of course. Code Scioli gets you $7 off there, and ready for the road course next week.
All right, we'll see you there, James. Thanks.
Thanks, guys.
All right, guys, that was a fun one. We got a lot of green flag running in, 100-plus laps green flag run there. Green flag stops at Dover. That is a challenge. And guess what? We're going to keep that rolling next week because we head to a road course in the Napa Valley of California, Connor. Sonoma, it is a tricky, low-grip road course. If you have not practiced for that one, it's about time to get out your right steering wheels because you're going to need them next week.
Yeah. By the way, I believe I picked Skyly to win, so
did.
I will take that victory. Thank you very much. But yeah, Sonoma's going to be a pretty tough challenge, especially if the track temp's going to be heated up like we saw today. There should be some pretty fun action across that entire week of road course racing. Sonoma as a driver for me, not one of my best tracks, but as far as watching, it's usually a pretty fun watch. But we should see the 7 up at the front again. We'll see the 73 up there. I have a sneaking suspicion Jeff Wright and Zachary Carr will play a factor next week in the Pro Series as well. But we are in for a good week next week from watching standpoint, Hunter.
Agreed. And James Skyly, this will really benefit him. He is the king of road courses. He's got the most wins, top 5s, top 10s, best average finish, most poles, most laps led at road courses in the Area Pro Series. Kyle, going to be a fun one to watch to see if he can pull it off at Sonoma.
3 road races next week, all from Sonoma, California. We'll see you out there. I will not be here next week. It'll be Finney and DeCuna running the show. I'll be in Lime Rock Park on the complete opposite side of the virtual country. I'll be in the real one, though, next week. So I'll miss the pro race next week, but be back here for the Cup Series and the Truck Series as we go left and right out in Sonoma, California. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.